So have you watched the History Channel lately, or the Discovery Channel, or any of those informational, educational channels on TV? Well, I watched episode King Tut's Tome, or some King's Tome. I think it was King Tut. The Curse of Tutankhamun or whatever. I watched it through a video link on the internet. I didn't watch it on TV. But anyway, it was originally aired on TV. And it was about opening this unopened sarcophagus and getting out the mummy inside and all that. And then investigating the mummy and stuff. And it could have been just a documentary with the information. The mummy was this and this old, there was some difficulty finding this out, and here's why, and there's a little technical insight into this, and this is how they wrapped the mummy when they put it in the MRI, and this is the things they found, and it looks like this and that and the other. But the whole episode was just like you're always hanging off the edge of your seat. Are the scientists going to be able to open the sarcophagus or not? It's a 16-ton lid. You know, and they drag you out over it, you know, about how it hasn't been opened for so and so long, and who knows what kind of stuff's inside, and everybody might die, and could be deadly mold, and then they open it, and then they go on to the next part of the show. And every single part of the show is a nail bite. You're just hanging off the edge of your seat to find out what's the, you know, everything's so suspenseful and so important that they make it urgent, and that's the only way they think they can keep your attention, is by plot, and to keep you baffled. You certainly wouldn't watch it for information. Certainly. Well, that's what I have against the docu-dramas. Nothing particular against them if they're done in good taste, perhaps, but they're not. So next time you want to watch the Discovery Channel or something like that, I don't have anything to say but read a book that was published before 1950, before 1900, if you please. Not philosophy necessarily, but pretty much any other book before 1900, you'll be okay. Besides that, anything cultural from the 20th century, including educational television, is corrupt. Now, an interesting note was that in ancient Rome, some writers saw groups of people standing around in the streets all the time talking gibberish, talking about the smallest, minutest detail in Christian religion and morality and whatever. Bizarre, small little details they would hash over and over and over. And it was just nonsense to anyone who wasn't initiated into the Christian religion, Christian cult. Those writers at the time were fascinated and recorded that thought for us, that was an interesting phenomenon. We now know that those Christians took over the whole empire and the subsequent culture that came after the Romans fell. The whole of Europe became Christian, and it led to a dark age. So it's not such a funny point when you put it that way, that the culture around us is full of gibberish and nonsense. You can't even get a documentary that gives you information. It has to have some contrived plot tacked onto it. You know, they're lifting the mummy up onto the MRI scanner, but they don't want to harm it. And something about damaging bones and may ruin evidence or whatever, and you know, it's a whole scandal, and will they be able to do it, or is the whole project a failure and they have to all return to Egypt and kill themselves, you know? And then it comes back from the commercial and it turns out they just needed 4 guys instead of 2 to lift the mummy up, and they put it in the MRI scanner. You know, stupid stuff, a contrived plot to keep you paying attention because you wouldn't want to pay attention to anything else. That's our culture today. And are they going to take over? Is it going to be a culture of minutia, just steamrolling everything that has meaning? Or is there a group of people today who are saying, let's be reasonable, let's talk about reality? That's our only other option. So I just wanted, it's another angle in which I can get the message. Objectivism is important, reason and logic are important, freedom is important, rights are important, and we have to defend them tooth and nail. We have to defend them in books and with tanks and guns, and Rome fell. And those Christians weren't talking minutia for much longer, because they had to get to work in the fields, because pretty soon everyone was starving to death and there wasn't much of a surplus. So it's not too funny. We're looking at a future that hasn't been determined yet, and it's sort of up to us. Do we leave it to those Christians who are jibber-jabbering? Because those are the masses of people. Do we leave it to the... if you're going into film, if you're a person listening to me now who wants to make films, remember, if you ever make a documentary, don't contrive a plot for it. Give the information. The documentary is there for the purpose of giving information. Or at least do it tastefully if you have to put a plot on, like you can do Benjamin Franklin's life, right? By acting it out with actors. Nothing wrong with that. Point is, culture's in a bad way. There's almost no a place where you can get good media. Check out Ayn Rand Institute's website. If you watched all their videos, it's direct you to all my videos. Then if you want more after that, I'll just say stay tuned.